CR0620-6025, State of Idaho, CR06-20-2067, State of Idaho versus Eric Lords. Mr. Lords is appearing by video. He is represented by Mr. Jim Archibald, who is appearing by video. Mr. Chase Hendricks was with the court earlier this morning. He's still logged on, but has not come back on. They had notice of the hearing, and so we're going to proceed. This matter is being streamed live through the court's YouTube channel due to a request to attend by a member of the public. We're set for a change of plea. In that regard, Mr. Archibald, have you done all you believe that should have been done by way of investigation, discovery, and motions to suppress evidence?
Yes.
Have you had sufficient time to discuss this matter and all of its ramifications with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you explained to him all of his rights, defenses, and possible consequences of the guilty plea?
Yes.
And given all the circumstances, do you consent to your client's plea of guilty?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Lords, if you please raise your right hand, we'll place you under oath.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give in this cause shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. You can go ahead and put your hand down. Mr. Lords, have you had sufficient time to discuss this case and all of its ramifications with your attorney?
Yes,
Are you a citizen of the United States?
I am.
Are you on probation or parole?
No,
Are you addicted to drugs or alcohol?
I am not.
Are you currently under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Do you have any psychological or mental health issues that could have a bearing in your case?
I do not.
And do you take any prescription medications?
I do.
And what are they for?
It's just for rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay. And you're taking those as prescribed?
Yes.
Now, you've entered a plea agreement with the state of Idaho, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Archibald, do you want to tell me what the plea agreement is?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Lords will be pleading guilty to grand theft, felony. The prosecutor and the defense will both be recommending probation at the time of sentencing. Mr. Lords has paid restitution in full to the school district. We'll confirm that prior to sentencing. And then the other terms of the agreement or the terms of the sentence are up to the court.
All right, so he's going to plead guilty to grand theft. Parties are going to recommend probation. Defendant will pay full restitution, and parties are free to argue the other terms,
Yes.
if any. And it's a non-binding plea agreement.
Yes.
Is that the plea agreement as you understand it, Mr. Lords?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand what the maximum possible penalties are for the crime of grand theft?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is that?
4 years or $50,000.
It's actually 14 years
Okay, 14.
is the maximum, and a $5,000 fine. You understand that?
Yes, I do understand that now.
You understand I can impose both?
Yes, sir.
You understand I can order you pay restitution?
Yes, sir.
And where it's a felony offense, you'll be required to provide a DNA sample and thumbprint to the state. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, your attorney will get it filed one way or the other, the written plea agreement, but I assume you've read the written plea agreement.
I have.
And did you sign the written plea agreement?
I did.
Did anyone force or pressure you into signing the plea agreement?
No, they did not.
Has anyone forced or pressured you into entering into the plea agreement?
No.
And again, we'll get the guilty plea advisory form, but that's the document that asked you a series of questions. Do you remember that document?
Yes, I do.
And if you had questions about anything, were you able to ask those questions of Mr. Archibald?
I did, and I was.
Okay, he was able to answer your questions.
Yes, sir.
And are your answers in that document true and correct?
They are.
And did you sign that document in 2 different places?
Yes, I did.
All right. Now, the plea agreement in this case is a non-binding plea agreement. That means if I do not follow the recommendations of your attorney or the state's attorney, you would nevertheless not have the right to withdraw your guilty plea. Do you understand that?
I do.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Is anyone forcing or pressuring you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
Has anyone promised you that I would be easy on you if you pled guilty?
No, sir.
Has anyone intimidated you or anyone close to you to get you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
Has anyone offered any rewards of any kind to make you plead guilty?
No, they haven't.
Is it fair to say that you're pleading guilty to this crime, excuse me, of your own free will and without any pressure or influence from anyone else?
Yes, it is.
Now, before I can sentence you, I do have to order what's called a pre-sentence investigation. That report will reveal any prior criminal history that you have, and I will consider that at the time of sentencing. Do you understand that?
I do.
When we do the pre-sentence investigation, they're also going to do what's called a gain-eye evaluation. That's to determine if you have any mental health or substance abuse issues, and I'll consider those reports as well. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you fully understand that by pleading guilty, you give up your constitutional rights to trial by jury, your right to confront your accusers, and your privilege against self-incrimination?
Yes.
Do you also understand you waive any defenses that you may have?
Yes.
Knowing all the things that we've talked about, is it still your desire to plead guilty?
Yes, it is.
To the charge of grand theft as outlined in the information, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Please tell me what you did that makes you guilty of that offense.
I used a school's credit card for personal use.
Okay. And did the aggregate amount exceed $1,000?
Yes, it did.
And did you use that, or did this crime occur on or between May 5th of 2017 and December 22nd of 2017?
Yes, sir.
And did it occur in the county of Bingham, state of Idaho?
It did.
And did you do that with the intent to deprive another person or entity of the property to yourself or a third person?
Yes.
Court finds the defendant understands the nature of the offense and the consequences of pleading guilty to that offense. Court also finds there's a factual basis for the guilty plea and that the guilty plea was freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. Therefore, the court will accept the guilty plea and directs the clerk to enter it in the record. Now, I'm going to give you a phone number here in just a few minutes. That is for the pre-sentence investigators. That's the pre-sentence investigators number. You'll need to call that number today. Make an appointment with them to get the pre-sentence report started. When you meet with the pre-sentence writer, they're going to want to review your answers to questions within a document that we will send to Mr. Archibald. It's the pre-sentence investigation packet. If you have questions about how or whether to answer anything within that document, discuss those matters with Mr. Archibald, and he will advise you. I'm assuming based upon the nature of the charge, he's not applying to a treatment court. Is that correct, Mr. Archibald?
That's correct.
So, Madam, I'll order a pre-sentence investigation. We'll set the date for sentencing. Madam Clerk, if you'll give us the date for the sentencing and then provide the phone number to Mr. Lords for the pre-sentence writer.
Sentencing will be March 29th, 2021 at 2:30 p.m.
All right, did you get those?
I did.
All right, we will email to Mr. Archibald that pre-sentence packet. So if you get that from him, and then make sure you call that phone number today, okay?
Yes, sir.
Anything else then today, Mr. Archibald?
No, thank you. And I'm sorry for my computer skills, not getting that filed. Got rejected twice, but I see that your clerk just split the PDF for me so that I'll try it again.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
You
Mr.
don't
Lord,
need
you're
to,
excused.
they're filed.
Say that again.
He doesn't need to resubmit them, they're filed.
Okay, they're
Oh.
filed now.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So, okay. You're excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That